real videos, real shit, and me not fucking around. Let's go straight to our parade of assholes. And who could be our grand marshal in the asshole parade but none other than Tucker Carlson, who, gee whiz, we're back in Moscow. Here's why. Because your checks won't cash anywhere else. Because if you're getting paid in rubles, that's the only place you can fucking spend them, you absolute tit. Let's find out what he says.
In the week since we left Russia, Moscow, where we are now, in February.
It's Moscow, Russia. It's the other way around. Well, I guess technically if you're arguing the Muscovite concept that Russians themselves are disparate peoples, but the Muscovites have taken over. I'm fucking with you. He's just talking out of his ass.
February, after interviewing Vladimir Putin, we've watched from the United States as the Biden administration has driven the U.S. ever closer to a nuclear conflict.
So we thought we would come here where the launch will happen from, and hopefully they'll hit other people and not us. We figure, because nobody would retaliate. And by the way, where was that? Wasn't there supposed to be, like, Biden okays the use of weapons firing into Kursk and into Russia, long-range weapons, and they're like, oh, you better watch it. We're going to nuke the shit out of you. For the 7th time they've made this kind of claim, and they were going to nuke Europe. They were going to nuke the United States. They were going to nuke the Donbass. And still fucking nothing. Nothing.
With Russia, the country that possesses the world's largest nuclear arsenal.
Yeah, but again, they don't work. And also, we put malware in them in 1992. So if you fire them, Putin, they're going to hit the Kremlin. All of them have been pre-programmed to ignore their primary targeting function, redirect once in the air, and land on the Kremlin. And one of them is targeting right on this dude's butthole. Just saying.
It has accelerated ever since.
No, it hasn't. It has not accelerated. They called his bluff and he hasn't done anything. They fired into Kursk using long-range weapons. They still are. I don't know. The Russians fired conventional shit into Ukraine. It seems to me that the missiles that they do have that work, they don't actually have any nuclear warheads that function because they didn't keep them up because it was always a bluff.
And it's reached its apogee so far in the weeks after Trump's election. He is now the president-elect. In that time, just a few weeks ago, the Biden administration, American military personnel launched missiles into mainland Russia.
The U.S. didn't launch missiles into Russia. The Ukrainians did. Also, Russia has been launching missiles into Ukraine this entire time. Fuck right off. You absolute whiny little bitch. You toy of a man. You Fisher Price character.
And killed at least a dozen Russian soldiers.
So, what you're saying is no civilians were harmed? Excellent work.
So we are, unbeknownst to most Americans, in a hot war with Russia.
Well, it's microwaved. I wouldn't say it was cooked up fresh. You know what I mean? I personally, some people will say they're going to open up a can of whoop ass. I make it from scratch. This asshole gets the little. It's a Swanson plate of whoop ass. And it's actually just whipped assholes. It's just pureed assholes. I think they call it Salisbury steak. I don't know why. I guess that's where all the buttholes are cremated, turned into foodstuffs from the war.
Declared war you did not vote for and that most Americans don't want, but it is ongoing.
No, it's not. It's been going on for a couple of years since Russia attacked Ukraine. Eat shit. You're a weirdo.
And because of that war, because of the fact that the U.S. military is killing Russians in Russia right now.
Russian soldiers, though. And granted, most of them are, I guess, guilty of crimes they would get the death penalty for most of the time. I guess why? Yes, that's a good question, Tucker Carlson. Why is the Why are American tax dollars being used to carry out capital punishment in a foreign country when we can't even kill our own criminals? We don't even have the right mixture of chemicals to kill our own criminals. We need those tax dollars to do that. And here we are killing their rapists and murderers and serial killers that have been handed a rifle and headed off, and they didn't even leave the country.
We are closer to nuclear war than at any time in.
Okay, no, we aren't, Bay of Pigs, obviously. But if there's ever going to be a nuclear war, because the calendar and time always moves forward, we're always closer to nuclear war if it ever happens. If it doesn't happen, we've been closer to it before and we didn't have it.
History, far closer than we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Why would that be? Literally, there were arguments going on in both the White House and the Kremlin, like,
That would mean the elimination of Russia, the United States, and most of the rest of the world.
In that order? Most of it? So, hey, asshole, why would you be, if it's happening, and it's a hot war, and we're in it, and it could happen at any time, the fuck are you doing in Kremlin? Well, I don't know about you, but if I had the means and wherewithal, I would go to whatever that most part you're talking about. I would avoid any of that. Any place that doesn't qualify for most of the rest of the world, I would build a house there. Pardon me for not taking this dickhead seriously, because he's literally there just picking up some Bitcoin.
We felt there must be someone behind the scenes in Washington working to make sure that this conflict doesn't become a nuclear holocaust. But we
So we came to Russia to find the equivalent of that person.
Found out that no, in fact, there is nobody. Tony.
Also, what the fuck does that mean? We have a State Department, dummy.
Blinken, the current Secretary of State, cut off all contact between the U.S. and Russian governments. There is.
Wait, there are multiple Russian governments? That's, I mean, talk about breaking news. I mean, I guess Belarus qualifies. Are you counting all the sock puppets in the world? Now we have to go to Kazakhstan and ask them where. Yeah.
All right.
Hold on. Yeah.
No back channel. There is no conversation.
And so how are we going to know when we're actually nuked? Have we already been? Did anyone check outside? Hold on one second. I don't see anything. I don't see any mushroom clouds out the window. Someone in the chat, please let me know when and if we are nuked.
There hasn't been for more than 2 years.
But we're close. For 2 years, we haven't been talking to these dumb motherfuckers, and we're just as close and never been this close and also twice as close. Awesome.
That's shocking. Meanwhile, most Americans have no access to any perspective other than that granted to them by NBC News and the New York Times. They don't.
Really? They don't have Fox? They don't have Newsmax? They don't have, I don't know, Rebel Media in Canada? They don't have the internet?
Don't know how close we are. They don't know the Russian perspective. We've been trying for over a year to get that perspective out to American news consumers.
To American news consumers. You mean the American public? Oh, wait, no, sorry. You're selling bullshit for a living. I forgot.
Also tried for over a year to get an interview with Zelensky, the president of Ukraine.
But since you have an air tag up your asshole that Vladimir Putin put there, they don't want you anywhere near Zelensky because they can use you as a tracker.
We've attacked that from a bunch of different angles. You've spoken to a lot of different people around him, had dinner with them. We've been in talks continuously, and those efforts have been thwarted by the U.S. government.
Also, he's not interested. Also, are you fucking nuts?
The American embassy in Kiev, which our tax dollars pay for, told the Zelensky government, no, you may not do the interview.
Really? You got a memo? You want to show me that? You know what? Fuck it. Just say it in front of the Kremlin. If you want to talk about a trust matrix, ladies and gentlemen, nothing works better than Tucker Carlson saying something in a stand-up video shot on a fucking phone in front of the Kremlin itself. The CIA has a ray that they point at Zelensky's head that won't let him take my phone calls. Shut the fuck up.
You can talk to CNN. You can't talk to us.
Do you have a copy of the memo? Did they send it to you? Or did they just fax you a middle finger like...
So we've been unable to speak to him. So we came...
And really? They don't realize how important you are? Oh, Tucker. Oh, Tucker. My goodness. Can't get an interview with world leaders, you say. Well, you've spoken to Putin. You've obviously spoken to Orban, I suppose, was it? What? And now the rest of the world just tells you to go pound sand, hands you a crowbar and says, use this to get your head out of your ass? Oh, Tucker. Oh, you don't say. Jesus.
Back to Moscow yesterday to interview the foreign minister of Russia.
Sergei Lavrov? Really? Okay. Let me get this straight. You have a meeting with Sergei Lavrov tomorrow. You're standing in front of the fucking Kremlin and you're saying, trust me. Okay, good. All right. I'm just making sure we're all clear.
Sergei Lavrov, the longest serving foreign minister in the world. He's
right, because no one else wants the job because they would like to visit a third floor window at some point in their life and enjoy the view as opposed to the pavement.
Been a part of this government for 25 years. He's been in the diplomatic corps for over 40.
Yes, and he was personally responsible for people getting like Balthorium G sprayed in their fucking face in a park in England and people shot in Berlin. Yeah, he's a murder coordinator, dum-dum. You visit once, that's an interview. The second twice, you fucking work for them now, asshole.
And ask him, where exactly are we? Are we headed toward an unprecedented conflict between Russia and the United States?
All right, what's unprecedented beyond the Cold War itself, where we literally had 7 times where there was nearly a launch, right? Between us, not them bombing Ukraine or firing something into the air, and again, I love how they're like, we have 3,000 missiles. Fuck, man, you only need like 60 to destroy the fucking planet. It's redundancy on redundancy on redundancy on redundancy. Like, so fucking what? We're at a stage where Pakistan could probably destroy 60% of the fucking population centers on the planet just by radiation downwind.
Is there any way to peel Russia back from the east, from the sphere of China back into the west?
Yeah, ask him that. Hey, how can we be your friends instead of China? Because China's been awesome to you, especially that part where they when they released their new maps, they renamed parts of Russia that they'd lost in the Sino-Russian War back to their Chinese name. And there's like a little panda character in the corner rubbing his hands together.
Is that alliance permanent? And does the election of Donald Trump mean an end to this war, which is reshaping the world, the U.S. economy, the global economy, and risking the life of every person on this planet? Is that possible?
No, it's not possible. Sorry. Nope. No, there's nothing you can do. I mean, even if, Trump had 24 hours since his election. I don't know what to tell you. We're all dead. Orgy at, what time's the orgy tomorrow? Everybody, where are we showing up? Do we have I know they're planning one in Kyiv if the missiles are away. Are we all doing the Spies Like Us orgy concept? Is that where we're all going with this? I'd like to think so.
Did you hear that? Yeah. It's a dick for. What's a dick for? To pee with.
Right. So, by the way, I want you to know, I'm only kidding. He's not there just to pick up a Bitcoin wallet, which is how he's getting paid. Okay, they're not handing him a physical Bitcoin wallet. They're not doing. That's silly. They're not, that he's going to smuggle out of the country in his tuchus like a thumb drive. I guess you take out Putin's thumb and just replace it with it. But does Tucker love the cocaine? I don't think so. I don't know what his drug of choice is. He seems to be one of these like quasi-nootropic Adderall dudes. But in all honesty, it looks like what do they call it? Affluenza, just like rich guy syndrome. Just a brain that's been cooked by being an heir to a mega fortune for a long time and way overpaid for the job he does. So he just has no fucking concept of how the world works. Right? I mean, it could be, it's entirely possible it's Scott Ritter syndrome. You know what I mean? That he's doing sex tourism would be the idea. I don't know if he has a penchant. But yeah, if you like, maybe the last time he was there, he got peed on and they videotaped it, and he's just keeping a copy of that. That's also on the thumb drive. I don't know. Who can say? But the point is, he might just be, and this might be shocking, just evil. He might just believe in. Again, he thinks Putin is an exemplary white supremacist. Right? This is this is in many ways. I don't know what his genealogical background, if he views himself as English or Irish or something like that, but white is white to a dude like that, so it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Like he has pseudo-European backing, and it's the same way that like there are Chinese and Japanese supremacists, and that's what they prefer to be in a racially homogenistic country, right? That they don't want to go outside of China because the rest of the world doesn't have nearly enough Chinese people for them and has far too many of the other kind, right? There's a bunch of those fucking people in a country of, I know they say 1.4 billion. It's not even fucking close. It's probably closer to 600 million, and the number's going down. But that's still an enormous thing. It's twice the number of people that the United States has. So there's a bunch of people over there who have no interest in being around anybody who isn't Chinese, for example. He's probably the same way with white people. It seems to be that way. From how and I'm only judging by everything he's ever said and done. So it's that, by the way, that is watchable or hearable, or that we know of. He might have a Milo Yiannopoulos fixation we're not aware of, but that's as much as we know. That seems to be his modus operandi. Is white is the color of our carpets.
We just walked out of that interview. It's absolutely fascinating. It's coming very soon. We hope you'll.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So here it is. So we came back to Russia.
Back to Moscow yesterday to interview the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, the longest serving foreign minister in the world. He's been a part of this government for 25 years. He's been in the diplomatic corps for over 40. And ask him, where exactly are we? Are we headed toward an unprecedented conflict between Russia and the United States?
So they came over to ask him, and now at the end of it, we go, well, we just finished the interview, and okay, what's the answer? I would think it would be timely. So I guess the answer is no. I guess that's what it is. I guess the answer is indeed no, right? Because he just talked to the dude, and the question was, are we headed towards nuclear Armageddon? And the fact that he stopped to even film this video, and he's not actively just shitting his pants, like, okay, I just talked to the guy, and we got a train to catch because that's the only kind of machinery that will run during a nuclear war, and apparently we've got 20 minutes to get the fuck out of here. So, anyways, tune in for the interview, because if anything, like, if there is any money to be made in the entertainment news sphere, I farted. Hit like and subscribe. So I'm guessing since he's not running anywhere and he already talked to the dude, so it's not happening, I guess. Now, I wonder, what he said, and I wonder how this translates.
I like wood.
Right? How do you say that? Anybody know how to say that in Russian? Or
deeper and longer.
Right. I don't know, but I'm not even sure I want to find out. Cake farts. Julianne, for the digging deep for just the I can't believe I watched that meme of the century. From what? 6 years ago? When the hell was that? Hal, young man, put that fart songboard away. I cannot, and I will not take this asshole seriously. I refuse. For two reasons. One, I primarily believe he is a huckster, a liar. He's full of shit. He's that's not hair on the top of his head. That's shit seeping out the top of his skull. That he's actually bald. That's primarily that I think he's a liar and a charlatan, and he's monetizing fear, and he's grotesque as a human. That's one. And two, if we are headed for nuclear Armageddon, there's nothing you and I can do about it. So, I was dreaming when I wrote this. Forgive me if it goes astray. Right? Everybody's got a bomb. We could all die any day. Right? So, we're going to party like it's 1999. That's what I think. Little do we know that song was about Y2K. It was the first, Y2K is threat song. Wouldn't it be great if we found out that Prince wrote that? I can't talk about Prince with that asshole's face on the screen. It's sacrilegious. It'd be funny if it turns out that 1999, the song was inspired by the fact that Prince knew about the potential for Y2K before anybody else did. Like he was at home in his studio updating the software that he used for his drum machine shit and went, oh my fucking God, wait a minute. This only has 2 digits. What? Hold on a second. This has only got 2 digits for the year. What happens when, oh my God, right? Now, I don't know if we'll cover that because fuck him. I might go through parts of it because I think it will probably be long or whatever. It's going to be absolutely fucking meaningless for the record. All right, I'm going to go to, hold on, let's see if, I don't know. Give it up, by the way, for Andrea and for CSL. I'm just saying, Andrea modding like a beast, and then CSL doing the difficult work of finding clips I haven't already seen.